Hey everyone, and welcome to the On The Go Show, a variety show where two friends talk pop culture and current events.
If you'd like to join the conversation, you can email us at onthegopod2023@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at On The Go with Jacob and James.
Without further ado, let's start the show. James, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was fine, man. We just ate some steak and some fish and stuff like that.
Steak and fish.
Yeah, I don't really turkey. Turkey dries out too quick.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I don't eat turkey like that. I don't like turkey. I don't like chicken. I mean, I like chicken, but I don't really eat chicken like that.
I see.
So yeah, I just wanted something a little different this year.
All right.
So I still had the same size and stuff like that, but I just didn't have like turkey, which I was totally okay with.
Right. I mean, I get that because it's also turkey's a lot. Like that's why Thanksgiving's such a big deal, right? Because it takes all day to cook the turkey or whatever.
Yeah, all that basting and stuff. I don't feel like all that.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with you there. I mean, I'm much more of like a ham person. Always like it when there's ham.
Yeah, I don't like ham either.
No, really, you don't like ham?
Nah.
Wow.
Nah.
Shame on you.
Yeah, I'm not the only one. Trust me, I'm not the only one that don't like ham.
All right,
trust me.
Well, what kind of size did you have? You have the usual
just usual sides: potato salad, green beans, asparagus, macaroni.
All right.
Rolls, and that was it. And nothing special.
I like me some macaroni. Macaroni and cheese is always good.
Only if it's creamy. If it's not creamy, then you can keep it.
Yeah. You don't like the dry macaroni? You don't like the...
Nah. There's a lot of people that make a lot of dry macaroni around here.
Oof. Yeah, I agree with you there. You know what I don't like is I don't like the stuffing. The stuffing or the cranberries.
Yeah, cranberries I can do without. Stuffing I'm not too big on. It depends on who makes it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just had a bad experience with stuffing as a child. Like, I don't know. I think the first year that I tried stuffing and cranberry, I got sick. And so ever since then, I'm just like, nope, never, not touching it ever again.
Yeah, it usually depends on who makes it. It's okay, but yeah, I don't really mess with it. I can do without that.
I see. Did you go to anybody's house, or did you just do something with your sister?
No, I just did something with my friend. He's the one that did the Thanksgiving dinner and stuff like that. So yeah, I did something with him.
Like a little Friendsgiving kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which, I mean, I don't know why we're trying to rebrand Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving no matter who you spend it with. Like, it doesn't
pretty much.
we don't have to segregate it.
Yeah.
So, well, that's nice. We just went to Khadijah's family, and we went over there and hung out for a little bit, and then we came back home, because they live in Austin, and we're only 2 hours away from it, which it was a smooth drive from San Antonio, which is nice.
Yeah, it is.
Because getting there from Houston, I think 30, 40 minutes of that commute is just getting out of Houston.
Mm-hmm.
so after an hour, we were halfway to Austin. We were like, oh, this is kind of nice. But you know what we did see is we saw a lot of broken down cars. So many people were breaking down that weekend.
Oh, you talking about just on the side of the road?
Yeah, on the side of the road. Just a lot of people were just on the way to their Thanksgiving meals, I guess, for their families. We're just, wow, a lot of people were breaking down.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah, it's you guys aren't checking your cars before you go on these road trips? What's happening here?
Well, when it gets cold like that, this is, things tend to break down a lot more.
Yeah, Khadijah's tire, one of her tires got really low the other day, so we had to take it back to Discount Tire. And luckily it was under warranty, so they just replaced it. But essentially they didn't know what was wrong with it, because they were they took it into the garage, and then they were like, all right, well, we just replaced it. Don't really see what was wrong with it. Seemed to be, so we just gave you a new one. $30. It's $30 extra for the warranty or whatever. So we're like, all right,
that's not bad.
No, it's not bad.
That's a good deal.
It's also weird because she just got that tire done from that same Discount Tire, and she's been to that Discount Tire 2 or 3 times since we moved here or whatever. And I was just like, if something happens again, it's probably the store and not the tire.
It could be.
If your tires run out of air in the next week or so, maybe go to a different Discount Tire.
Oh, you can totally go to another. You can go to some other tire place other than just that. I'm trying to think about what's out there.
Walmart's got a tire shop. There's a Super Walmart with the tire thing connected to it.
Yeah, they do have one.
So I mean, yeah, you could take it to Walmart.
Yeah, that's true.
essentially. I mean, she likes using Discount Tire because, they do the air checks for free, and then they do the free tire changes if you're under warranty and all that stuff. But I guess that's other places too. It's probably not necessarily only Discount.
Well, yeah, because God dog it. I don't know why I can't think of the name right now. It's on the tip of my tongue. But yeah, there are some places that does it free. You don't have to just stick with Discount Tires. Well, I don't know what they're doing with that other job that other places can't do.
Yeah, right. I mean, who knows? I don't think there's a monopoly on tire places. I think it's just preference, really, or loyalty. I mean, you go to one place for however long, you just kind of you don't want to break the mold,
Yeah, that's true.
So, but anyway, we got Thanksgiving out the way. We got Christmas coming up, so another big holiday coming up in another couple of weeks. We got an email. I think the week that we were off, James, we got an email from Zach.
You've got mail.
And this is kind of an interesting one that he sent in.
Okay.
And I was kind of excited to talk about it a little bit. But his email says, "Hey guys, not sure how much TV you guys watch, but how do you feel about the current state of TV commercials? Because from what I've seen today, most of the time they don't make sense and I have no idea what they are promoting anymore." So, what's your take on TV commercials? Because I mean, we've talked about ads before, but
yeah, I mean, look, I don't really watch TV like that, like I used to anymore. So I would talk more about the commercials that you see probably during the streams, not streams, but on YouTube, or on Hulu and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I just watch them in passing. You know what I'm saying? I really don't really pay attention to them.
Right.
I mean, the only commercials that are always throw you off are the medical commercials. That's essentially it, and those are the commercials that really get you go because they talk about more stuff than anything. All the symptoms and all that stuff that you got to watch out for.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. And then probably networks that are promoting new shows that come on TV because they might know the Super Bowl is coming every year, so they try to promote as many shows as possible. Or two, the sports come on that network, football comes on those networks, so they try to promote those shows so they can get people to watch them. So I mean, it's been done for years. I don't see really any difference in it. It's just one of those things. I don't really give them. How can I say this? I don't really give the commercials any second thought like that because I just see them in passing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. Well, I mean, obviously, I sort of pay attention because what 2 episodes ago or an episode ago I was talking about Geico and Progressive, just like they were weird back and forth with Jamie and the caveman. But I kind of pay attention to it because 5 years in radio and advertising and whatnot, you kind of get the behind the scenes on how the advertising campaigns work, and you kind of get an understanding of like the thought process that goes into some of this stuff. And I remember way back, my first radio job I had, it was like a weekend radio job, and it was one of those, it was for the small company where like the actual owner of the company did a radio show on Sunday. So every Sunday we had to be in the room with the boss, the CEO essentially. And you had to do the radio show, and it was very stressful because if you screwed it up, he was going to get mad at you, right? Like the highest high person you can have in the company working next to you is very stressful. But he's an old radio guy, obviously. And we were talking about commercials because in Houston, you have this company called Oops Steam Cleaning, right? I don't know if you ever heard about it or heard of it. You might have seen the vans. Before. And we were talking about the commercials because the commercials are done. It sounds like a lady that does it, and her name's Shirley Q. Liquor, and it sounds like a Medea character, right? She kind of talks like Medea, and you kind of get the bit. But the commercials are very poorly produced. Like some of them just sound like the person's in the middle of an echoey room, like just very bad. And I was like, why do they make this like this? Like why are they so bad? And that's the whole purpose. Yeah, and my boss, he made that comment. He was like, "Yeah, it's on purpose because what they do is sometimes they'll make something sound bad because it gets you to pay more attention to it, and then you pay more attention to it. You remember the brand, and you kind of remember what it's for, and then you talk about it with your friends, and like that's the advertising extension, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so ever since then, I always think about that. And I've brought it up a couple times before with like certain things where people just make a big deal out of something. And I was like, well, that's the advertising working, right? Because I mean, the Superman photo, that's a good example.
Yeah,
Right.
Gallery Mattress Mac has been doing that for years. He's made a living off of doing those silly commercials and spoofs and stuff like that. He's even doing like rappers and all that type of stuff. He's doing that because he's trying to get you to put that commercial ingrained in your head so that way you watch them over and over again.
Right. Well, not even watch it over and over again, but you might bring it up. Like you go out with your friends.
It up in passing.
Yeah, you might go out with your friends and be like, "Do you see that Mattress Mac commercial? Like, what? How ridiculous is that?" I mean, you don't get it at the time, but you are inadvertently advertising Mattress Mac. Everything is advertising at some point. So I always like to think about that when I watch commercials or hear commercials or whatever. And there was an interesting TV commercial I saw on LinkedIn of all places. It opens up, it's like all these Asian dudes and they're all connected in a line. They're kind of like laying in a diagonal and they're all like, they're going through all this like horrible, it looks like torture, right? There's heat, there's snow, there's rain, there's all this horrible stuff and they're all yelling and screaming. And one of them always falls off and his friend catches him and he's like, no, we're going to get through this together and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, when is this over? When is it going to end? And then you're watching the commercial and you're like, what is this for? I'm thinking Under Armour, right? I'm thinking like workout gear, right?
True.
The camera pans out and the Asian people turn into shingles of a roof. And it's for a roof company, like a roofing business or whatever. And it's like, or a shingle specifically. It's like, oh, whatever brand shingles they are, they're going to stick with it no matter what. But it's like, you remember that because it's the crazy commercial with all the Asian people like going through hell.
I mean, like I say, that's the whole point. They do it every year for Christmas, Super Bowl halftime, not Super Bowl halftime, but during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They put out these outlandish commercials to get you to talk about it 24/7 and talk about it with your friends. Hope you remember it and they bring it back.
Yeah.
So it's all a shell game. It's all, it is what it is. They've been doing this since we were kids, since before we were even born.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, like the nonsensical stuff, it seems like it's pointless, but it's to get you to remember the brand or like whatever they're selling. You might not be thinking about it at the time, but that's what it is. And to answer your email, Zach, that's exactly what I think about commercials. I think, but even if it's nonsense or even if you think it's stupid, it's gonna work on somebody. And it also kind of worked on Zach, right? Because he emailed us about this, not a specific commercial, but I bet if we asked him, he could probably bring up a commercial.
Most likely, yep.
Duolingo is doing something really funny with their advertising where I might have brought this up before, but I don't know if you've ever used Duolingo or if you know about Duolingo.
I heard of it before.
All right, but there's a big joke to where it's like, oh, if you don't do your lesson, the bird's going to get you. And it started off as a meme. And everyone just kind of like joked about it for a while. But then Duolingo, I guess like probably their brand, their branding or their marketing team or whatever probably caught wind of it. And also they're probably a bunch of like, younger millennials or Gen Z or maybe Gen Alpha by now. I don't really know. But anyway, they're probably on the younger side already. And so they're really heavily leaning into the fact that Duolingo is going to kidnap you if you don't do your lessons. And they put out this YouTube video where it's like a music video of this kid singing about how Duolingo like kidnapped his parents because he missed a lesson or something.
Oh, that's funny.
And you're watching it and you're like, oh, this is a parody. And then you look at the YouTube channel that it comes from and it's Duolingo's official channel. Like, oh no, they produced this.
Wow, that's funny.
Yeah. And I sent it to Joel and Joel was like, oh, those stupid YouTube parents or whatever. I was like, no, this was Duolingo. I sent it to Joel and Khadijah and I was like, no, this is a real commercial, guys. This was not.
Yeah, this is not something that was made up.
Yeah, no, they did this. So it's kind of funny. But anyway, to answer your email, Zach, that's why commercials do what they do.
On the go. Or in the shower. With Jacob and James. I
decided to pull up the box office numbers for the Thanksgiving weekend because we talked before recording that Thanksgiving kind of kicked movie theaters' butts, which it's not funny, but it's also like after like however many months of nothingness, because like what you get through October with Joker and Venom.
Yep.
And then, I mean, what came out in September? Nothing really.
There was really nothing that came out in September.
I know Transformers 1 came out or like around August or so, but unfortunately that didn't do as big as it should have. And it's unfortunate because I hear that movie's very good.
Yeah, it is. It's a very good film.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate it didn't do as good or whatever. But anyway, this was a huge weekend for movies, as holidays are. Let's be honest. I mean, as many people say the movie theaters are dying, they sure are going for the holidays to avoid their families.
I mean, yeah, people say that all the time, but at the end of the day, it'll always work itself back. And holidays is usually the time that you bring out the big hitters and big movies.
Right.
Some more than others. I think probably Craven probably should have came out in October. Depending on what's going on with that, which I don't really care to get into. But yeah, a movie like that probably should have came out in October, so you can kind of clear the pathway for a lot of holiday movies.
Right.
Nosferatu would have pretty much stole the show in October instead of coming out on Christmas.
Yeah, that's weird. That's going to compete against Sonic? Along with Craven? Yeah, I don't know. Sonic's going to win out on that one.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have Sonic, you're going to have still Wicked, still Gladiator, still Moana. So I'm just like, this so weird for some of these movies to come out on some of these weird dates during the holidays.
Well, I have the numbers here, James, and it seems that Moana kind of took the crown over the weekend with 221 million over Thanksgiving. Wicked came in at 118 million, and then Gladiator had 44 million. But also, I think Gladiator came out like a week or two before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it came out week 2 before.
Right, so it was already on the decline because it's like the second or third week of it being out. And Moana was kind of surprising because I don't think anybody really expected a Moana sequel, and all of a sudden it was just here.
Yeah,
I did a little digging into that, James, and apparently Moana 2 was supposed to be a Disney Plus series.
Yep, that is right.
Essentially, they decided to release it in theaters, and from what I understand, from the people I've seen online who have seen it, they made the comment that it kind of plays like it's one of those like direct to video sequels where it's like 3 stories in one.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. Lin-Manuel didn't come back for this one, which definitely shows the music is not the same as it was for the first one.
Right, because he did Mufasa this year.
Yeah, he did Mufasa, which was smart on his thing. I don't blame him on that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially if this is like a Disney Plus series, they probably didn't want to pay Lin-Manuel the money for a series, and then they decided to do a movie. But at that point, it's too late, right? You're not going to go reproduce the songs. You're not going to go rehire Lin-Manuel, right? That's more money you're throwing into this. So, yeah, I just found it interesting that it's like kind of a stitched together thing.
I mean, it's a good movie. I mean, sure it's fun to watch for like, the kids and stuff like that. I just think you don't see a lot more. You don't see a lot of Maui in this one.
Right.
And it's just not the same. It's just not the same as the first one.
I mean, I found it kind of weird they were going to do a sequel anyway, but finding out it was going to be a series makes more sense, right? Because it's like, you didn't want to do a sequel, so you did a sequel series, which would have made more sense, but you decided to kind of turn around. I don't know. Apparently, some people are upset because this hurts the like animation industry on some degree, but I didn't get into a deep dive of that. I'm sure it does at some point because I know like Disney's a little weird like with their animators. They've kind of screwed them over before,
Yeah.
So it's not
they tend to work like slaves, it seems.
Yeah. So it's not a huge surprise that like, yeah, of course this would have some controversy to it, but it still made a lot. I mean, it made a lot of money. There's some Disney naysayers out there who are really like, oh, Disney's going downhill. But like, I mean, Moana made a lot of money. Inside Out 2 kicked ass when that came out.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
So it's still doing good. I mean, Wicked, obviously. I mean, I'm surprised Wicked wasn't number 1, and it probably was for a little bit before Moana came out. But that's it for the box office numbers. I wanted to get into to kind of gear up for Christmas, James. I looked up the top like 20 or 10 Christmas movies coming out.
Okay.
And maybe we should have a segment on one of these movies or something like a have you seen this thing, because I mean there's some old movies here that I've never seen. I've heard of, right, but I haven't seen them quite yet. So I'm just going to quickly go down this list and we can kind of banter about as we go, right? So number 23 was The Santa Claus.
But Tim Allen.
Yeah. Did you ever watch the
Okay.
series? Like, I know they did a series
I
recently.
never watched the series, but I watched the first one. The first one, they play that one on TV all the time.
Yeah, I mean
yeah.
the first one's essentially a classic, right? And then the second
Yeah.
one was a little weird, and the third one was a little weirder. So you got the Santa Claus, and then on 22 you have 2019's Claus. It's like an animated film.
Claus. I don't think I remember that one.
Yeah, it was on Netflix. It's essentially just an animated movie about how Santa Claus got his start. I mean, we've seen many of those stories before, right? It's not,
Yeah.
it's not like the claymation, or not the claymation, but the stop motion one from I can't remember their names. Boss, somebody in Boss, right?
Okay.
Heat Miser,
Yeah.
Snow Miser, those guys.
Okay.
It's not like that, but it's a little bit different, I suppose. Let's see, the gorgeously animated Netflix film offers a compelling origin story about a young postman and a toy maker in the 19th century Norway who pair up for each other's benefit to have kids write letters in exchange for toys. Okay, so it's one of those. 21 is a 1945 film called Christmas in Connecticut.
I don't think I ever heard that one.
Never heard of this one. No. Yeah. It centering on a food writer who pens a well-read column using a false country gal persona forced by her publisher to cook a real dinner for a returning war hero. She's up a creek without a paddle as hijinks ensue. Barbara Stanwyck and Dennis Morgan are the stars. So if you recognize those names, which I mean, big for 1945, not so much for nowadays. Apparently,
If
it's
it's
on
anything like from 1945, man, we can kind of scoop off from those.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like let's try to hit the ones.
Yeah.
hit the bracket ones that we know.
No, I got you.
we kinda know.
Gremlins is on this list at number 20, which I mean,
Okay.
I guess it is kind of a Christmas movie. I just never looked at it as a Christmas movie.
Could it take place during Christmas?
Right, but then does that essentially make it a Christmas movie just because it's during
I don't
Christmas?
know.
It's not
It's
about
just-
Christmas. It's
It's usually like a little Die Hard situation.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's pretty much the whole conversation. It makes it more Christmas more than anything.
Yeah.
See people arguing about it.
exactly that. Yeah, you're right. That's what makes it Christmas. 19, you got The Holdovers from last year. I know you saw that. You said it was a really good movie.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed that film.
Yeah, currently it's available on Amazon Prime, which means you probably have to rent it because
Yeah, most likely.
even if you pay for Prime, you still have to rent stuff, which is really, really annoying. Just
Yeah.
a little 2 cents there. Number 18, you got National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Again, another classic. National Lampoon's is kind of a classic in its own right, or at least the older ones. 17, you got Scrooge with Bill Murray. I've never seen that one, but I obviously it's a Charles Dickens like rendition, just different. 16, you got Die Hard. We were just talking about that from 1988. Number 15, you got Miracle on 34th Street, which I always hear about.
Which one? Is it the original or the 1995 one?
The 1947 one.
Oh, 1949. Okay.
Yeah. Big movie for Macy's, apparently. In Old
Yeah,
Man.
because it takes place in Macy's. The little girl meets Santa Claus, and I saw the one from 1945, but I also saw the one from 1995 too. So
I see. I think I remember like seeing the cover for the 1995 one. But
it has a
anyway.
little girl that played Matilda.
Oh, Matilda's in it. Okay. That makes sense. She
Yeah.
was big around there. Christina Ricci? Was it Christina Ricci? Or Winona Ryder who's Matilda?
Who?
Matilda.
No.
Neither one of them?
Absolutely not.
Who's Matilda?
No.
It's somebody.
Absolutely not. Yeah, Matilda's played by an unknown child.
Mara Wilson.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What have you been in? Matilda, Miracle on 34th Street, Mrs. Doubtfire, Simple Wish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a bunch of... She was in a 2013 movie. That seems to be her newest thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on here, we got The Nightmare Before Christmas. Obviously, that's like a dual like Christmas Halloween movie, whichever way you want to look at it. I know a couple of friends that we know, apparently, like on Halloween, they watch this movie and then they set up their Christmas tree. Like that's their little Halloween tradition.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then Trading Places is apparently a Christmas movie, which we watched that one
I don't
before.
Yeah, I don't think it's a Christmas movie, but okay.
Yeah, right. It didn't really... when we watched it, it didn't seem Christmassy to me.
Nah, not even a little bit.
That's a bit of a stretch. Home Alone, obviously, yeah, takes place on Christmas. You got the old classic Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer from 1964. Rankin and Boss. That's the people I was trying to think of. And then you got the Year Without Santa Claus, which again, Rankin and Boss, 1974. That's the Heat Miser, Snow Miser one. Muppet Christmas Carol, which is just a Christmas Carol,
which is pretty good. That's one of the finest movies.
Right. I haven't seen a good Muppet movie in a while.
You won't. You really won't. Their best ones was back in the old days, back in the 80s. Their best movies were back in the 80s.
That's true. I mean, I still just haven't seen them in a while. Maybe I should. Maybe I should catch up on the Muppets. Maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe we'll do a segment on the Muppet Christmas Carol. That'd be fun. Let me see. We got Bad Santa, Billy Bob Thornton, Bad Santa.
Mm-hmm.
So, Love Actually. This is one of Joel's favorite movies.
I think I saw Love Actually before, yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's like an anthology kind of thing where it's like different stories coming together.
I think so, yeah.
Right. Then number 5, you have the classic How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Number 4, you got Elf, which I never liked Elf.
You don't like Elf?
I did not like. I was not very much into Will Ferrell's movies. To me are just like hit and miss.
It's very hit and miss, but that's one of the few movies I actually do like that he did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of that film for whatever reason. But anyway,
I can understand. I ain't gonna fight you on it.
Yeah, moving on. We got Charlie Brown Christmas, 1965, of course. Top 3. You got to do Charlie Brown. Again, in the top 3, of course, is A Christmas Story, classic. And the number 1 Christmas movie, according to this list on entertainment.com, entertainmentweekly.com, is It's a Wonderful Life from 1946.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I'm very shocked they haven't remade that movie yet. I'm really shocked. That's one movie I would have thought Hollywood would have remade by now.
They haven't really like remade it, but they've made like iterations of it, right? Like they've always done like parodies and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Family Man with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Which that's a Christmas movie, to be honest with you. Family Man.
Yeah, Family Man. Or what is the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? About the toy. I forgot what it's called.
Oh, you talking about Jingle All the Way?
Yeah, Jingle All the Way. Didn't they get a sequel or something?
Yeah, they did a sequel with Larry the Cable Guy, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah.
So I never watched that.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, I never watched that one, but yeah, I'm surprised Hollywood hasn't made a full-on reboot of that one.
It's a Wonderful Life?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it might just be too classic to touch.
It is a classic. I do like watching it, but it's just not. I would think, of all the times that Hollywood loves to touch stuff, that would be a movie that you would touch.
Right. I mean, maybe there's a clause. Let me see. Why hasn't there been a Wonderful Life reboot?
Family Man is the only movie that comes close to me as being pretty much like It's a Wonderful Life. I mean, I've seen like different shows that have tried to reconnect those types of strands. Like Smallville did it with Lex Luthor, which was kind of an interesting play.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that was cool. Excuse me, but it was. I don't know. It's been shows that have done it, and some movies have done it. But I would like to see a full on reboot. Well, what's that movie? Truman Show.
The Truman Show.
Truman Show kind of had little strands of it. It's a Wonderful Life.
Interesting.
What's the Majestic? The Majestic is another movie.
Oh yeah, I remember The Majestic.
The Jim Carrey. That's another movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to see a full-on reboot of that movie done.
Well, I do have some good news for you then. As of 2024, a remake directed by Kenya Barris is currently in development at Paramount Pictures, aiming to retell the story through a modern lens with a person of color as protagonist.
Okay. Okay.
They're making it woke, James.
I mean, it's not even being woke. It's
I
just
know.
the fact of just... I want to see a reboot, but of it in that time, in that period of time.
Yeah, like a period piece, right? Like why bring it to modern day when you could just re-show us what 1946 looks like in a better lens?
Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. You had to dig that up now.
Yeah. Well, you asked. You
I'm not a big
asked for
fan of
this.
Kenya Barris like that. I'm just. Oh boy. That sucks to know.
Yeah. Sorry to burst your bubble there, sir.
Ugh. Ugh.
I mean, we'll see how it comes out, I guess.
I remember they did The Preacher's Wife with Whitney Houston and Denzel Washington. That was a remake. I really liked that movie. That's a Christmas movie. I'm surprised that wasn't on there.
I mean, there's a bunch of Christmas movies that could have been on here. It's weird that Bad Santa's on here. Like, I mean, I don't really think about Bad Santa as a Christmas movie. I think about Bad Santa as just like a raunchy, dirty movie. You know?
And hell, freaking what's his name? Friday After Next is also.
Oh, that's true. It is.
Movie. Yeah, that's a Christmas movie as well.
Yeah,
So you could easily put that. Like they played it every holiday.
yeah.
And one more thing, back to the King of Bears situation. I know somebody's gonna probably say I don't like King of Bears. I don't like his work. The last film he did with Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy was absolutely terrible.
Oh, he did that one?
Yeah, it was absolutely terrible. It was a despicable play. I hated it. I hated it for a number of reasons. I can go on and on about that movie, but I know somebody is going to probably talk about me about that one. But I don't like King of Bears.
He also did the reboot to White Men Can't Jump with Jack
it was
Harlow.
terrible. Oh, man, it was horrible.
Yeah.
If you never saw the first White Man Can't Jump with Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes, you definitely should watch that one. That was way more better than the one that King of Bears did. That one King of Bears did is terrible.
Oh, and he did Coming to America too, and Shaft.
Yeah.
Oh, he's doing all the reboots.
Bad.
He's doing all the reboots. Cheaper by the dozen. Damn.
I'm sorry. I had to go off on that rant. Oh man.
Oh, you're good. You're good. This is a little eye opening. Wow. Yeah, I didn't realize he was doing all these reboots. He did that Intergalactic movie on Netflix. That's kind of like the Spider-Verse animation.
You talking about the one with Lupe? I mean, not Lupe. Kid Cudi.
Potentially. Yes.
Yeah. See, that's different because I think Kid Cudi had a lot more to do with that than King of Bears did. I feel like King of Bears probably asked. You know, I'm pretty sure Kid Cudi was like, "Yo, I want to do this. I want to do that," and that's what they did to it. You know, that's different. But I'm not a big fan of this guy.
That's understandable. I get it.
Yeah.
You know, people like what they like, and they don't what they don't. You know.
On the Go podcast with Jacob and James.
It would truly spice up your life.
So moving on for the Christmas movies, James. We had discussed we were gonna talk about Gladiator and Wicked.
Yep.
Yeah. So I saw Gladiator. I didn't see Wicked, but honestly, I don't need to. Like Khadijah plays Wicked every time we do a road trip that's longer than a couple hours. so I'm well familiar with the story. So I'm pretty sure I can speak to it just as well. But yeah, we got to see Gladiator. Did you see Gladiator?
Yeah, I already saw it already.
All right, cool. How was your experience with Gladiator?
Yeah, I liked it. It was just a retread of pretty much the first one. I felt like, you know, a lot of it was not real and totally not true. You know, they had a lot of missteps in the film.
Yeah.
With this time around. It's definitely one of the better films of Ridley Scott, though. I give him that. I give him credit for that one. But it was just I knew what type of movie we were gonna get once you saw popcorn buckets and Pepsi commercials and all that type of stuff. The the advertising for the movie was totally different from what we had when we saw the first one. You know, the first one was more practical. It was more it was very, very detail oriented. This one in particular was not. And, you know, they retreaded a lot of the stuff they did in the first one. It was just no need to make this movie at all.
Well, you know, that's what happens with these legacy sequels. That's unfortunately the pit that they fall into is, hey, remember the first one? We did it again. Different characters, right? Like that's 9 out of 10 of them. That's usually what it comes out to be. So I haven't seen the first one. I never saw the first one. And with this, I didn't feel like I missed anything because they did a pretty good recap at the beginning with like the animation. And then also they showed you like flashbacks during the movie. So I never really felt like, oh, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know what this guy belongs to. It's a simple story, right? The dude gets captured and then he's got to fight in the gladiator pits. That's kind of what you're looking at in this film. So I think I had a decent time watching it. I enjoyed the fights. I thought the fights were kind of cool. I kind of wish there was more Gladiator stuff. And I get like it's almost like a political drama at the same time, because you have like all this background stuff going on. Like Rome is not doing so well because you have these emperors who don't really know what they're doing. And I found it interesting that, and this might be from the first movie too. Again, I don't really know, but I found it interesting that like you see everywhere outside of the Colosseum and everybody is just in poverty. And then even the people in the Colosseum, like they also look like they're still from poverty. They were just like the lucky ones who managed to get in to watch these fights. But it's just like everybody who's not the emperors or like even the guards are doing horribly. Because even the gladiators, they're like slaves, right?
So yeah, that's why I think I really wish you was able to watch that first one, because like I said, the first one, everything that was done in that second was pretty much done in that first one. Like everything that you're saying was already in the first one. Yeah, and it was a lot better. It was done a lot better.
I imagine so. I mean, Gladiator is also a classic, and for whatever reason, that's why they decided to remake it. But a bit of a spoiler, I suppose. The main character is the guy's son from the first one, which if you've seen the first one, you can put that together because apparently they sent the son away.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. That plot, that was interesting enough. Like with just him getting captured at the beginning of the movie and like it becoming kind of this like revenge thing because his wife was killed by the general Pedro Pascal and whatnot. That was an interesting piece of the movie. And then it fell apart when Pedro Pascal's character essentially just like tells Lucius, the main character, that like, oh, hey, I knew your father. I fought with your father. We were trying to bust you out or whatever. And then he just dies in the gladiator pit. I really just wanted Lucius to kill him because from Lucius's point of view, that man killed his wife and brought him into slavery. It doesn't matter if Pedro Pascal's character knew his father from back in the day or whatever. Like like I just like the revenge aspect of the story. It flips and it's like he just doesn't care anymore at that point. Or at that point, he's like, I'm all about liberating Rome. But like, dude, you were minding your own business in a village somewhere. You had no plans to come back to Rome ever. And then you just like flip.
Well, the decision turns into a Denzel movie, which I had no problem with because he seems to be the only person that actually had like a good time in the film.
No, Denzel's character was great.
Yeah, he's like the only person that had a really good time in the film. But it just turns into just a Denzel Washington / Penguin movie.
Like the rise to power from the bottom of the barrel. Yeah.
So that's pretty much what it turned into, which I had no problem with. But like I say, that's just me. I mean, it's a fine movie. I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. And apparently we're supposed to get a third one too.
I saw something about that. I don't know how true it is just yet. I was trying to look last night into it, but I just kind of found like an opinion piece. So I didn't really count that as evidence or anything.
I'm telling you, if he did a third one, that would be a great mistake. That would be a mistake on his part.
Well, it's like, what would you do? What are you going to do? You're going to do the gladiator fights again? Like they liberated Rome at the end of this movie, essentially, right? Like the guy was like, "Hey, we don't have to do all this crap. Like we can do better than this."
You've already stretched out this first one as much as you possibly could.
Yeah,
you went leaps and bounds to make it unrealistic as possible and that's the part I really had a problem with. It's like you just did a whole bunch of stuff and you really didn't have to. Like rhinos in a pit, water in a pit, like all these different things that just did not happen back then. It's just newspaper, people reading newspaper. Like you did so much outlandish things in this movie,
right?
That why would you want to top that with even more outlandish things?
The water in the pit, I'm told, is like a historical like document, but it's not for sure if they filled it up with water, right? I think it's just like they have evidence of like, oh, they use aqueducts to get water into the Colosseum, but it's unknown as to what it was used for. I mean, as far as we know, it's to clean out the blood and the guts from the Colosseum after the fights, right? I mean, I did find it kind of silly, like they just filled up the Colosseum and imported sharks. That was a part where I was like, how would you get the sharks? How did you import the sharks here? Who's carrying the sharks into the pit?
It was essentially one of those movies where you kind of shut your brain off and just enjoy it. And that's what I did. I just shut my brain off.
Yeah, I mean that's really what it's good for. It's got some good action in it, and it's got some good fights. Moving on to Wicked, James. You saw Wicked. Let me know. Tell me about Wicked.
I liked the film. It was very good. I thought Cynthia Erivo was really good. She kind of stood out more than anything. Ariana Grande was great too, but I loved her in the movie. I loved the music. All the music sequences worked for me. I'll take that back. Probably one or two sequences probably didn't work with me singing wise, but other than that, I really enjoyed the film. It was really, really good. I can't wait to see the second one. Hopefully it comes out next year.
I believe it's supposed to come out next year. Is there a 15-minute intermission? I heard there's an intermission in this.
No, there's no intermission.
Oh, okay.
It's just straight through.
Okay, I heard there was, and I was like, well, that's kind of weird because this movie is 10 minutes longer than the play. And that's what's kind of bothering people. It's like, why is there a part 2 when this movie could have just been part 1 and 2? Which I assume like part 2 is just mainly going to be The Wizard of Oz again.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm assuming so, yeah.
Well, because the story of Wicked is obviously leading up to her becoming the Wicked Witch, but then the back half of Wicked, or the back, like, I don't know, a couple songs of Wicked is like them getting Dorothy to go kill the witch, because I'm not going to get into it because you don't know the story. But
I don't know the story, so I want to find out.
Yeah, but if you listen to the musical, obviously, you'll get the story. But like there's some plannings and things going on in the back end. So I guess they're going to elaborate more of that in the film, because I know people who have seen the Broadway play and then seen the movie said that like certain scenes in the play, like they're just lines in a song, right? Like when they see, I don't know what happens in this movie. What all do you see in this movie?
What do you mean? They show her being born, they show her going to the school, they show her with her sister, stuff like that.
Yeah. She meets Fiyero, she meets Bach.
The usual.
Does the lion show up in the movie?
Yeah, it's the usual thing, so it wasn't nothing crazy.
Do they talk about the cowardly lion in the movie?
What, he was like a Pacific lion that was in the movie?
Like a lion, yeah, like the lion.
Yeah, it showed like the baby cub being rescued. No, they never hinted to it was the cowardly lion, though.
Oh, okay. I got you. Oops. But essentially,
I already knew. I mean, essentially, that's common sense.
You can kind of put it together, yeah.
So, yeah, you probably could, and I kind of wish they would have hinted that was the cowardly lion, but I kind of already knew anyway.
It gets brought up later.
Yeah.
But yeah, so scenes like that when they save the lion and other scenes in the movie, like they're just a line in the song and it goes by pretty quick in the play. But I've heard like in the movie they kind of stretch out some of these scenes, obviously, because it's a film and they need to add to the scene and all this stuff.
I mean, they're never going to show 100% everything they've done in the film. So I wasn't expecting that. I just wanted it to be good.
Yeah. I have no doubt it's good. I mean, I know. Again, we were talking before we recorded, like there's been some reports of people singing in the theaters and stuff like that, but you said there was nobody singing in your theater.
It probably was people singing in theaters, but I mean, we didn't get any complaints or anything. Yeah. Like everybody enjoyed it. They had a good time.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where like people are just trying to make it a big, like, I don't know. I feel like this film, it's one of those weird things where it's like people have tried to make it so controversial. And to some degree, I think behind the scenes, there's been some controversial stuff, like Ariana Grande and her whole affair with the guy who plays the Tin Man. That was a big deal. And then, like, you have Cynthia kind of blowing up about the fan art, which she later, admitted she was wrong for.
Who plays the Tin Man?
Ethan Slater, I think is his name. He played SpongeBob on Broadway, which is because everyone keeps breaking it up. Like, oh, really? You slept with SpongeBob?
So in the movie, who is he? Like. I don't think they hinted to him yet.
Oh, he's Bach.
Oh, Bach is the Tin Man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Sorry to expose that to you. I thought he would become Tin Man in this movie.
No. Like I say, this was purely about the witch and and the Glinda. So it's like they don't really talk about that stuff.
Interesting. I wonder if all that's going to happen at the beginning of the next movie. Then
it's probably going to happen in the next one. Because, like I said, I hated Bach. I hated him. I thought he was a piece of crap.
Yeah.
I thought he was a piece of crap.
Well, yeah. Well, there you go. He gets turned into the Tin Man. So he gets his comeuppance, I suppose.
Oh, that's good to know. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the actor that Ariana had a love affair with. And
so on the next one, they pretty much show all the characters, then, huh? You think?
Yeah. I mean, Dorothy's not really a big character in the play, though. That's the thing. It's like, all like the Wizard of Oz storyline in the Broadway show goes by pretty quickly. I feel like. So that's why I'm curious as to like how they're going to stretch it out in the next movie, you know?
Yeah, it's true.
So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the next one, especially since like this could have just been 1 and 2 altogether.
I'm curious to see who played the Scarecrow.
Yeah.
Did they show that in the story too?
You've seen the Scarecrow.
Specific actor?
Yeah, you've seen the Scarecrow.
I've seen him?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Jonathan Bailey, isn't it?
Yeah, you could probably figure it out, yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. I know who it is now.
But I'm glad you enjoyed the movie. I honestly wanted to see the movie. I did. Khadija was the one who didn't want to see it because she just didn't want to look at Ariana Grande. Because she's like, just the way Ariana Grande looks in this movie, or really, she's like the way both of these actresses look. Like when you watch them during their interviews and stuff, she said they're just so bony.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on with Cynthia Erivo, right? Because she wasn't really like that in the film. In the film, she like she had a little gain of weight there.
Yeah.
Oh, they were talking about was her. What's the name? Ariana Grande's weight way back in they were filming the film.
Oh yeah, of course.
So
yeah. So I just don't know what happened with both of them. And then like you see them in interviews, and they're both like really just like all over each other, which I feel like is a bit. I think it's a bit. I don't know why they're doing it, but this feels like a meme. You know what I mean?
It's professional. Just trying to stay professional as possible. You know, and we'll get to that in a little bit because we'll get to more of being professional because I want to talk to you about the Snow White trailer as well.
The Snow White trailer came out?
Yeah, it came out yesterday.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it came out. But
it being professional, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Of course. You gotta uphold appearances. But I do find it funny though that book people, like the book side of the internet, is coming out and they're like, hey guys, like I know you're bringing your kids to this movie and they want to read Wicked, but just so you know, the book Wicked is not like the play Wicked, and it's not like Wizard of Oz. Like the original book deals with like a lot of dark themes. Like don't treat it like a rated R movie. Like read the book before you give it to your kids, because like in the book there's just like there's drugs, there's sexual assault, prostitution, crime, like murder and sex parties, and
I bet.
Like there's all kinds of like more adult things, like because Wicked is essentially just like a fan fiction of Wizard of Oz that got kind of put into a very popular Broadway play. So they were just like, look guys, like don't think the book is going to be family friendly.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
that's true, huh?
It's a good warning though, because people forget or people don't realize like this is a product based on a play, based on a movie, based on a book, based off a movie, based on a book. There's so many degrees of separation to the original storyline. I mean, it's fun to like mix stuff up because I mean, Wizard of Oz, they've redone Wizard of Oz like for years. Like Sci-Fi had a Wizard of Oz like miniseries. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah, I remember that. I bet they had the Return to Oz.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Wiz with Diana Ross and Michael Jackson. So yeah, it's definitely been. You also had the cartoons as well.
You got the cartoons. You got the James Franco movie, the beginning of Oz.
James Franco. Yeah.
So it's just like a word of warning. Like, don't let your kids read the book without reading it first. And
true.
And then also too from the Mattel fiasco with the Wicked.com that we talked about before. Apparently now parents are coming out and they're suing Mattel over it. They're like, hey, this isn't right. So I mean, which again, we knew that was coming. So
yeah, of course, this is part of it.
My name is Dick Righteous, and I'm here to take you on the wonderful journey through freedom, justice, in the good old American way, like a hamburger with fries.
You want to talk about the Snow White trailer?
Yeah, Snow White trailer came out yesterday, and it looked pretty much okay. Still, the dwarves look off. The dwarves look completely off. It looks CG terribly. It really, really looks bad. And I know everyone's online piling up on the young lady who's playing Snow White.
Yeah.
People piling up on her by her pro-Israel and non-Israel situation.
I was gonna say even her, just like her opinions on Snow White in general, because I know she was like, "Oh, we're doing it differently," blah 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 blah, and people didn't like what she had to say about it.
Well, see, she apologized for that,
Yeah.
and that was fine. But then when she started going into the Israel stuff, then that's when it really just it was just been a pile on. And honestly, I really don't think they should come off this movie. I really wish they could have just taxed right off this movie.
Yeah.
This is a movie they probably should have taxed right off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's similar to Wicked, right? Like, there's all this controversy behind it.
Yeah,
I think
but this is worse.
The only difference is, like, Wicked is more popular and kind of new, whereas Snow White is not really like that popular of a story anymore. And also, it's such a classic Disney film where it's like,
well, that's the first film. It was the first Disney film.
Yeah, and again, here we are with these like soulless live action remakes that are also hit and miss a lot, or mostly miss. Honestly, I think a lot of people just have a different feeling towards this. Like Wicked, like, okay, we can look past the controversy, but this one, we don't even care about this movie in the first place.
Yep. I mean, it's gonna be like Gal Gadot. She looks great. She looks great as the evil queen. Let me get that out the way. She looks beautiful as the evil queen. But the movie itself, man, and the stuff, the controversy, it's just not worth it. In my opinion, it's not worth it. It's like this just should have been a tax write-off. I would have just said, you know what? No one knows this existed. No one will ever have to know.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, this movie's gonna do. This is probably one of the movies that could really, really hurt Disney and made them take a really, really sharp look at stuff and just be like, you know what? We got to take a step back because with all this controversy and then the movie itself not looking as good, because this was a full-on trailer. It wasn't a teaser. This was a full-on trailer.
Right.
And man, the blowback this movie is getting is just crazy. Like, I pretty much would put this on Disney Plus. If you're not going to tax write off, at least put it on Disney Plus.
Fair enough.
You know.
Fair enough.
Oof.
You know, speaking of trailers, it's kind of an unofficial trailer park segment, but we saw a trailer before Gladiator for, I forgot what it was called. It was Robbie Williams. He's got a biopic coming out.
Yeah.
I forget what the name of it is. Better
It's
Man.
called Robbie Williams. Yeah, Better Man.
Better Man. Yeah, his biopic's coming out where he's a monkey. I mean, it's his biopic, right? It's about him being Robbie Williams, but he decided like he wanted to be a monkey in this movie.
Yeah, I saw it.
And it's funny because all the quotes were like, "Oh, this is wildly original," and blah blah blah. And Khadija and I are sitting there going, "Like, this isn't original. Like, you just CGI'd yourself as a monkey. Like, this is a biopic." Like the Pharrell Lego movie.
It's a biopic.
Yeah, the Pharrell Lego movie is a more original biopic than this.
That's true. Like I said, I'm not a big fan. I know who Robert Williams is. I'm not really familiar with him.
We had to look him up. Like, he's not really. I mean, he's popular, but he doesn't. Like, I couldn't name you a song that's like, oh, that's Robbie Williams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
he's more popular overseas than he is in the States.
Yeah, he's a big English British celebrity essentially, and I think he's written some hits. So it's not like he's completely unknown. Obviously, I mean, he's got a movie coming out, and he can't be completely unknown. But it was just one of those things where it's just it's like we're not like, this isn't that original. Like, you guys are selling it as original, but no, you CGI'd him as a monkey. Like, the story's not he was born a monkey and he became a singer. It's not.
Yeah, it's a stretch.
Yeah. So we were not impressed by that trailer.
Not me either. I wasn't impressed. I was more disgusted with it. I just thought it was stupid.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, I was like, wow,
okay.
the Pharrell movie was Legos and more creative, but like that kind of got swept under the rug, which I never got to see. I don't think a lot of people want to go see that movie, unfortunately.
No, I never got a chance to see it either. I wanted to, but I never got a chance to.
Yeah. It looked really good. Probably catch it at some point.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. So, but I mean, that's all I got for trailers. I didn't really intend to talk about trailers, but you brought up Snow White, so I brought up Robbie Williams. That's all we have for today. Thank you for listening, and if you would like to join the conversation, you can email us at onthegopod2023@gmail.com.
You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at On The Go with Jacob and James.
You can find James on Instagram at
James9794.
You can find me on Instagram at jacobdantone.audio. James is on the go.
Jacob's on the go.
We are all on the go.